What's up, everybody? So this is going to be part two. We seem to have had a glitch there right in the middle of finishing up on Notre Dame and Virginia. So we're going to go ahead and skip the rest of that. We're going to mention real quick. Yesterday, what seemed to be a pretty good shot at an upset was North Carolina and Clemson, and they go for two down there and didn't get it. But I like the call. I mean, heck, you're not even supposed to be even near winning that game. And instead of playing conservative, I like that call of going for it because you almost had a upset right there at your home field. I loved it. What do you think about that call?
I think it's great. I mean, football is a game of inches. It's like
Yep.
kind of like how baseball is. You take a risk, and when you take risks and they actually pan out, they're just great for confidence. I'm a big proponent with confidence and how a team moves forward and continues on, and I think it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a game foremost, and let's play it. Let's play it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great, entertaining game, which is
Yes.
another. Like, we're the crowd. We want to watch. We don't want to watch no, low scoring.
Yeah.
Some people like defensive games, but I like scores. I like
Yeah.
when
I do too.
I think it was great. I think it was just a
Yeah.
good. You say.
I got you. All right. So yeah, let's move to the Big 12. I had Oklahoma State there. They come through for us. Drove the ball down the last 6 minutes of the game. Took up pretty much the entire rest of the time. Drove down, kicked field goal, put the game really out of reach for Kansas State.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought it was great too. Honestly, um, let's see. One of the points I really liked was their defensive game.
Yeah.
Uh, Oklahoma State's defense. Back when I used to watch Oklahoma State real close, they didn't have Crabtree. Well, they would have made a great team, but their
Right.
defense was horrible. Like they'd let people score all over them. And to that game, it was a later game, an evening game, so a
Right.
lot more. I think a lot more people were watching it. Maybe in my opinion, uh, it was just a good game all around. 373 rush yards for Oklahoma State. This
Yep.
was that was great. When you stop Kansas from running and you run all over the place, man, that's just a proven fact that we're going to kick your ass today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was
Yeah.
just a
And
good game.
I mean, probably, and I may be wrong about this, but I think the best name in college football, Chuba Hubbard.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
that's a great name for
he
anyone.
wins it. His parents deserve an award for that one, ain't it, Joe?
That's right.
Either
I
his
think
dad was
he
drunk or wanted him to be a good football player. You know what I'm saying? It's
right,
one of
and
those.
there was no looking back. I mean, you can't go into IT with a name like Chuba Hubbard. You got to be either football or you got to own a bar or
Yeah.
something like you can't.
Or like a burger joint, man. This guy's going to own some
Right.
kind of restaurant one day. Right.
Yeah, Chuba Burgers. I mean, you
Double
can't
burger.
you can't go
That
into
shit sells itself, man. Yeah.
exactly. And speaking of which, you can't be a salesman. You can't travel the country and go into meetings and say, "Yeah, my name's Chuba." They're not going to take you seriously. So he was set up for success in a few things, and he's done well.
Yeah. He's the marker. His
Yeah,
name matches his ability. That's right.
that's right. As far as the Big 12 goes, Iowa State and Baylor ended up being a really good football game.
Yeah.
23-21 Baylor. Matt Rule, you got to give him all the credit in the world, man. He's really doing well down there with a situation that he come into was very bad, and
Yeah.
he's done well.
Yeah, they got that new stadium down there, and it's a couple
Yeah.
years old, but they really have needed to step up
Yes.
with that money they spent for this place, and
Right.
and yesterday was a good provisional area for them. I think they should take that and move forward and
Yeah.
just keep that train going, man.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they want to be good down there. They really
Right.
do. But
Right.
yeah, that was an entertaining game too. I caught a little bit of the end of that one, but I looked at the stats and that was Baylor did themselves well yesterday.
Right.
In that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what
But
do
it
you
was
think
a good.
about the Pac-12? What do you think about that conference as a whole?
Uh, I mean, I don't really isolate myself to too many of the conferences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I tend to look at all of them.
Yeah.
ACC. I like looking at all of them. I'm not isolated to any
Right.
big conference. But
Right.
what's your opinion of? What do you think of
Well,
it?
I think there's about to be some shakeup. One, I think
There's no
you know,
there's no undefeated teams, right, in the
no,
Pac-12.
they're all
They've
everybody's
all
got
lost.
lost.
Yeah.
And starting out, because of Friday with Cal lost to Arizona
Yeah.
State, which that conference is so up and down. It's 1 week you play really well, the next week you don't, and it seems like every team does that.
Yeah.
Stanford is on a down track. I mean, I'm kind of a fan of Oregon State, and I think they got a
Yeah.
really good coach. I think they're on the upside. I think they're coming up. They're on that upswing.
Yeah.
Stanford is on the opposite side, and I know Stanford beat them yesterday, but it took a last second field goal to beat them. And I think that it wouldn't surprise me at all if David Shaw is looking for a new job at the end of the year. I mean, he just can't for what has happened to them. They used to be, juggernauts talking about being in the playoffs every year, and now this year they're beating Oregon State by a field goal. They go to UCF, and yes, I know you traveled all the way across the country, but you get your, just slammed.
Yeah.
And I mean, UCF took it to them,
Yeah.
and really made them hurt. So they're on the downswing, and I think a lot of that conference is about to start turning. And everybody's on UCLA with Chip Kelly, but they're not looking terrible. They're making strides. They're making progress.
Yeah.
There's teams that we're used to really being the juggernauts. USC traditionally being very good, except during the 90s when they couldn't do anything. Washington traditionally has had good teams. They're definitely always there as a power, but they've kind of slacked off a little bit here lately. I think that loss to Cal really got their season turned around. They've been playing a lot better since then, but I think you're about to see kind of the old saying about the lake turning over. Every now and then that warm water on the bottom floats up to the top.
Shifts up. Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening in the Pac-12, and I think that's going to continue to happen over the next couple of years.
I agree. October is going to be a big, sign for that, to see where Oregon is on in that conference, and Stanford. I think it's easy whenever things are easy to predict.
Yeah.
You got to watch your ass.
That's right.
It's predictable to think that Stanford is on that downturn.
Right.
But I mean, look at Michigan yesterday. We wanted them to get their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't going to lose that game, but I'm just saying that it shouldn't have been that much of a gap. So Stanford is a team that has plenty of money, plenty of coaches, but they're not just going to sit there and go, man, we're just going to settle with this.
Yeah.
Man, it's to the drawing board, dude. Its asses are in line for the firing range if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And as close as they were to Oregon State, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah. Right. Especially where Stanford's been over the past, say, 10 years versus where Oregon State's been over the past 10 years. You look at that, where there's that gap starting to close. And I think it shows a picture of the entire conference is doing the same thing. I mean, who would have thought Arizona State would be with one loss right now, with a road win against Michigan State under their belt? Michigan State is going to be the primetime game next week. I mean, that's, against Ohio State. So that is a huge win on the road. You've got Arizona doesn't look terrible. I mean, they're winning ball games. They're not, they lost to Hawaii first week, and since then they've really played a lot better. But you got teams like USC who seems to be struggling every game now, and they're just loaded with talent. Well, there's absolutely no reason that USC should not be in the top 5 year in and year out. They're in Southern California.
I want to mention something that you and Mike were talking about in the last video. It was the Wake Forest Boston College game y'all were talking about.
Yeah.
He was just briefly mentioning the term put together, how Wake Forest is much more put together and Boston College is less put together. That term put together, in my opinion, is how these guys click with each other, how they click with each other. You can have ass loads of talent, but if you have got a bunch of damn superstars who came from these high schools who all they were the one superstar of each team, they don't know how to play with another team. And I know this is elementary speak, and the people who are listening to this think, of course, no crap, they got to have good chemistry. But in college football, it's huge.
It's huge.
Momentum
It's huge.
For confidence, for momentum. It's just it's major. And to see these teams like USC look like and perform the way they are, there's no other thing they can think of except for that chemical reaction with each other.
Right. And you think, and really, that was a great look at that game, because Boston College is built on the traditional sense of you get the best players you can, you throw them out there, and you try to win a game. Wake Forest is built in a process, and that is one of the most underrated coaches in all of college football is Dave Clawson. You look at what the coach did before he got there with the fact that he built a career. His name's leaving my mind right now, but he built a career off redshirting players. Hardly anybody come in and start as a freshman. He would have one or two guys every year that would play as a freshman. The rest of them were redshirting. And Dave Clawson did the same thing, and has kept that going. Right now, I think I seen the other day they had a stat where it was like 23 redshirt seniors on that team. So guys who have been in that system for 5 years. And when you're getting the players that they are, you have to do that. Now, I'm spoiled. I live in Alabama. I went to school at Alabama. Right now, we're able to get the players from all over the country that are 5-star players who can come in from day one and play. Right. Not every school can do that. And Wake Forest is a prime example where they're sitting at in North Carolina. They're surrounded by pretty much the entire ACC and parts of the SEC. They're fighting Clemson, South Carolina, North Carolina State, and Duke, all for players. So their process of building that team has to be different. Has to. There's no way around it. They have to be different than anybody else. Otherwise, they'll lose every game.
Yeah.
They're playing really well. They're undefeated and have a shot at being close to 9 or 10 wins, 9-0 maybe, when they go play Clemson.
Yeah.
And they won't be on the same caliber as Clemson, but they're undefeated, and they believe, and like you're talking about, they've got that gel where they're together when they go in there, and a lot of times that builds for an upset.
I think so too, especially if Vegas gives a ton of points to the team. I mean, there's a lot of psychological ways with the numbers, and we've talked about that before, but the durability aspect, a good coach isn't going to worry about so much about names as he is how durable a person is, how meshable they are in their personalities. Because, these guys they're still freaking kids, man.
Oh, yeah.
They all have their fiery emotions, and their hormones are still going 100,000 miles an hour, dude. So to corral this group of guys that are pure athletes and to lead them all in one direction, that in of itself proves it just speaks volumes. In a lot of that's why I kind of like college football. NFL doesn't have that so much, No. In high school, you're not going to have that much talent. So college is it's such a different kind of game to me.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why I can't seem to get a hold of NFL. I've tried in the years past, and finally I said, you know what, screw it. I ain't got that much time to be looking at it. I'm going to focus my efforts on Power 5 of college football, because I can't. Yeah. You can't. There's Nick Saban left the Miami Dolphins for a reason, and it had nothing. I firmly believe it had nothing to do with wins and losses. It had everything to do with the fact that you can't coach NFL players. You have to learn how to wrangle them and get them to play on one side. You can't coach them. They're the top of the line. They're the best of the best, and they're getting paid a lot of money. Where in college, you don't have that. And that opens up the issue of paying players in my mind. And that to me, I don't have a problem with giving them something, but when you start giving them the kind of money, even, let's say the top player in the country got $1 million, that kid's not going to be near as coachable as what they are right now, just simply because they're worried about other things. And that's where,
you're taking away that dynamic.
Yeah,
that's a big. I mean, their college is getting paid for, most of them, if they're.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's money, kind of, if you look at it the right way. But yeah, you're
It
going to take.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
You don't want to
and
go there.
that's right now we have that in college football where we have that camaraderie and we have that team oriented
Mentality.
facet, you know.
Yeah.
And in the pros you don't have that. You have teams who are able, obviously the Patriots are really good at, we don't look at individual players. That's how they are able to cut players from year in and year out. They pick up these free agents, and that's pretty much they look at them and say, look, if you're not going to play our way, you're not going to play our way at all. Yeah. You're not going to be on our team. Yeah. And they get on to buy in. The ones that don't buy in, goodbye. The best thing they could have done this season is what they did in cutting Antonio Brown. That guy is a cancer to any team he's on. Yeah. And that kind of stuff is not as big in college. And that's where you get these teams that are built from the ground up and they win ball games because of that. Right. So it's definitely a big deal. And finding those, that gives you edges in betting because finding those teams that, you know, you can get that edge of, hey, this team's playing very well. Yes, they don't have the athletes. They may not have a guy who can run a 4.4. But they got 12 guys who can come in and rotate along the defensive front and give it everything they got every play. And I'll take that team over that team that's got a 4.4 any day.
Right. Well, I, just to add to that, one little aspect is at the beginning of the season, you would take USC. Yeah. And you would just go strictly on stats.
Yep.
When they're let's say they lost 4 in a row, you know, they lose 5 in a row or something ridiculous.
Right.
You better put money on them on that 5th or 6th game because
that's right.
They're not going to. Sometimes it takes that many damn losses for them to get their shit together and go, well, damn, maybe we ain't as good as we thought we were, you know?
Right.
And then you better freaking cover your ass just like Michigan did to Rutgers today.
That's right. Michigan got a big old piece of humble pie last week, and they got to hear it all week long.
Yeah, and they come out.
And they come out and they win 52-0. I mean, that's they did the right thing. Let's see if they can build on it. Let's see if they can carry that. But this week it was the right thing. Yep. Well, Toby, we went pretty long here, and we'll kind of wrap it up. I really appreciate you joining me once again. I enjoyed these are my favorite videos, honestly, just because we can kind of talk and go over what we see going through as far as October coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we got, a lot of big games. You start getting into more conference games during this month. The weather does start to turn out here in the South. It is not right now, but it will. No. It'll get to that point. I think we're finally going to get out of the 90s in about a week and a half from what I've seen in the forecast. But I mean, look, you got Hurricane Lorenzo out in the Atlantic. He's a Category 5 and don't even want to come to the South because it's so damn hot. But, that's just the truth. And, maybe we can get some cooler weather and get some better football going. And some of these underdogs are going to start to come in. Just hold the faith. Know it's going to happen. This is an anomaly. I seen a tweet last week from Phil Steele that he has been handicapping since 1982, has never started out this bad. This is just one of those years. It's just a few things going the wrong way, but it will start to come in as the year goes on. So everybody hold the faith.
Don't bet the house. Just
that's right.
It's a slow moving train, and
that's right.
We're gonna get on the right side. And one of these weeks, like last year, I don't know if anybody remembers, Clay would skunk them. He'd go 7-0 or 5-0 a couple times last year. So those are coming.
Those are coming. It's just got to get some things rolling our way, a few breaks going our way. But I appreciate everybody watching it, and we'll see you. I'll be making a video with Michael probably on Tuesday once again for week 6, and then we'll start recapping next week, hopefully again with Toby. This is a lot of fun, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Toby.
All right, buddy.